Sachin and Dan have a 15-week-old Australian Shepherd, and they're having some problems with the dog, destructive problems actually, and they want to talk about housebreaking, and I think they're interested in perhaps starting some obedience. And with a 15-week-old dog, he's more than old enough to start. We use a food lure, which we'll talk to them about, which is a real effective way of teaching a puppy in a real positive way that learning is fun. So we'll find their house here and get started. Hi, Dan.
Hi.
Hi.
Must be Brian.
Yes, I am.
Come on
Nice
in.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Sachin.
Hi. Very nice to
Hi.
meet you.
Brian Donovan.
Thanks for coming.
Now you have a new addition to your house.
do.
A 15-week-old Australian Shepherd.
Australian Shepherd puppy.
All right, and what's going on with this dog?
He's just got basically the same puppy problems that you always encounter. He's chewing some things, some bathroom habits.
Okay,
We need
all
to
right, so
take
potty
care of.
problems. So
A
we
little
need
bit of
a
nipping. He likes to nip.
little bit of nipping.
Yeah, he
okay.
likes to nip at you.
All right, so we'll see what we can do about that. Australian Shepherds are herding dogs.
Yeah, he likes to do the if you move one way, he'll try and counter each way you move.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's instinct. So
Right. So we know that they're very smart, but they're also they're very interactive. They like to nip, they like to bite, but they're also very engaging dogs, and they're very loyal too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll work with that. Now also, you wanted to teach start the obedience off.
Yes, definitely.
That's smart because again they are really quick learners, and the sooner you pick that up with the obedience, the faster they learn later on. Okay, and the more that they learn that the training process is fun.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the destructive problems. Now, what has he chewed up?
You
Chewed up my
phone
phone
charger.
cord.
Your phone cord.
yeah, I actually have it.
Do you? Let's
Yeah.
let's see it.
Yeah, he gnawed on that. I woke up one morning. He was.
So luckily it wasn't plugged in, but
So
I definitely got a hold of that.
so this is his handiwork.
Puppy power.
Diesel.
Yeah.
Diesel's the dog's name.
Yeah.
Yes.
And okay, so that's what we want to solve now. Yeah, it's this could be very dangerous. You know that if it was plugged in, power cord, you know, could have hurt the dog.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a real common scenario. Puppies like to chew, and they're learning. They're trying to discover, you know, what works and what doesn't.
What they can and cannot
So
do.
it seems like you got over it pretty easy, and you know it's a fond memory now. But it could have been dangerous.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to teach you a real effective way to stop destructive problems. Because destructive problems is not only about your belongings; it's about the safety of your dog.
Yep.
So we'll take care of that too. All right.
Cool.
Good.
Okay. So why don't we get the dog and we'll start learning.
Great, thank you.
Stress brings out behaviors. So you said sometimes he chews up his potty pads,
Yeah.
his housebreaking pads. Now, does he do it all the time?
Only when he's in a cage.
Okay. Now, does he do it every single time he's in the cage, or when he's left?
No, just for extended amount of time. Like
Okay.
if we leave all day,
All right.
stuff like that. I'll have my mom come over and let him out while we're at work. And
Okay.
he's shoot up a few, but
Now, the best way to handle that is the key factor there is sometimes when extended periods of time, because again, he's used to being in the cage X number of hours, and if you extend it too much, it's going to cause what? Stress. Remember what we just talked about, and then that will bring out new behaviors. He might start whining in the cage, crying, and then he starts to destroy something. So the best way to get rid of that problem is to lower the stress. Try to eliminate those extended periods.
Yeah.
Or try to make all the periods a little bit longer, extend a little bit, so the dog's used to being in the den, you know, his denning crate a little bit longer. Okay. Now, the destructive behaviors for around the house when he's getting into things, there's a correction that's very effective for puppies, but you have to make sure you're there to catch it, because you have to catch a dog instantly in the act of doing something wrong or something right. Praising him has to be done in the act. The three words that you got to remember are loud, quick, and invisible. Now, what I mean by that is if you see him getting into something that doesn't belong to him, loud and quick. If you correct him with something that's loud and quick, it's going to startle him. Rolled up newspaper, you hit it on your hand, or maybe on a coffee table, or on the door jamb. A loud no, so that will startle the dog. So if he's chewing something, that'll instantly make him stop. because he doesn't know what's going on, and he's going to be scared. So he's going to turn around and look what's going, where the sound came from. And then invisible simply means he shouldn't see the correction. See, if he's chewing on this phone cord, and then he hears a loud noise, he's going to jump away from whatever he's doing. Okay, just because he's startled.
Yep.
Now, if I'm hitting my hand with a newspaper, making a sound, he's not going to see that. Now, if our timing is off and he turns around, he sees me doing this with a newspaper, what's he going to be afraid of?
You.
He's going to be afraid of me and the newspaper, right?
Yeah.
So it's real important. You know, some people use cans with pennies in them.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's real important that you do it out of sight of the dog. People will take that can and shake it in front of their dog, and the dog becomes afraid of the can, but they don't stop the destructive behaviors. Okay, so you got that. You have to, which requires supervision. You have to watch him. When he can't, you can't watch him. He should be in his den, you know, in his crate. As a puppy, his first year of life, he's learning all his behaviors that he's going to take with him the rest of his life. So his first year, you got to make sure that when you can't supervise him, just like a baby, you know, we have playpens and cribs for babies. You should use your crate for that when you can't keep an eye on them. Not for punishment. You probably already know that. You don't use it for punishment.
No.
You only use it when you can't supervise.
We can't be here to
immediately.
supervise him.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So it's important that you catch them. I'm going to show you the correction. Okay. In order to correct for destructive problems, it's important that the dog does all the work. You don't want the dog to perceive that you're setting him up for something. So he has to discover the situation, and he has to see the repercussions of it, okay? So what we're gonna do is, Dan, you're in a good position to help me out. You're gonna be a confederate in the cause here. I want you to turn the dog around to face you, and then I'm going to take these tissues. Dogs like to get into this stuff. They love the texture, they like to chew it. I'm just gonna put them on the floor. And then I want you to stop petting him and see if the dog discovers it on his own.
Okay.
And then when if he goes up to sniff it, which represents the bad behavior, you know, these don't belong to him.
Chewing on your leash?
I'm going to give him a correction. Now the correction is I have this rolled up newspaper. I'm just going to hit my hand with it. It should make enough noise to correct him. If it doesn't, we'll try something else. Okay? So that's where we have to experiment. So make sure he doesn't see. Kind of faces. Okay, now I'm just going to set these here. All right, now just stop petting him. And we'll see if he... No! Good dog. What happened there? Good boy. Good. Good. Now we take him away from the situation. You see how it startled him?
Yeah.
And then we take him away and then we pet him. Okay, now what you can do is you can turn him loose again, let him go back to it again. No! Good dog. Good. 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 Good dog. What happened there? You all right? So he was startled again.
Oh, yeah.
Even though I was actually in his periphery, okay, he could still see me. His attention was drawn right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he was looking at that. Good. Good dog. Now I'm going to take this and hide it. All right. Now the next time it appears, he's going to get that correction again,
Come here, buddy.
and then if we make that connection enough,
Diesel.
he's going to associate that with getting into trouble. Okay, so that's all we have to do is get that startle response. That's it. Now you have a box full of toys for your dog. Go ahead and grab one of those toys. What's his favorite one? Okay.
Probably that one. Oh, his squirrel.
His
He
squirrel.
likes all
Okay.
of them.
Okay, so it's important also that he sees the contrast between things he can get into and things that don't belong to him.
Okay.
So whenever he gets into his toys, those things are always good. Of course, you never correct him for that.
Yeah.
So it's important after you correct him, wait a couple minutes, and then interact with him with his toys. Now what he's going to learn is that all these toys have a common theme, other than the fact that they're plush animals. Okay, they all smell a certain way. He's been chewing on them.
Yep.
They smell like, he's been mouthing them. They smell like something that belongs to him. Everything that I own has a different scent to it,
Yeah.
okay? So you want him to start using his nose the way it was meant to be used to determine, what belongs to me, what doesn't. And through that, he's going to learn what items are appropriate to play with. Because see, how does he know the difference between this item and something that is made of a material that may be real similar? He doesn't know.
He doesn't.
Okay, you have to teach him. Once in a while, a dog owner will give their dog an old shoe. That's one of the worst things you can do, because then he can't determine the difference between a new shoe and an old shoe. He doesn't know.
When we first got him, he had this thing. He hasn't done it here lately. He had this thing wherever you take your socks and shoes off, he snag your socks
Okay.
And run with them.
and run.
Yeah.
So
Yep. And that, again, loud, quick, and invisible when that happens. And you see how he instantly stops, like, what is that? All we're looking for is what we call a behavior pattern interruption. You know, we don't have to scare him, you know, to the point where he runs away. All we have to
Just
do
enough to
is
stop
Yeah, it's like,
the
what was
action
that?
that he's
Yeah.
doing.
And that's what we're doing with that correction. And then you go back to playing with something he can play with. And by seeing that contrast, he learns in a very natural way. Some things are beneficial. Some things, you know, he should probably stay away from. All right, and that's your main objective as a puppy. Your main objective is supervise the behavior. Let him get into anything, but let him see the consequence as well. So you might not want to pick things up. Leave the phone cord on the floor, and then if he goes near it, you correct him.
Oh, okay.
Especially since they already chewed on it. That's a good idea.
Yeah, and then that way he'll see that that's something that's off limits. Any questions?
Oh, that's great.
All right.
No.
I think the destructive behavior correction is going to work out great. We really saw a great response with him when Brian was showing us how to correct him, and I never realized that that's how you would do it, and I think it's going to work wonderful.